Good morning. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am your host, Shiz Lansky, and I have to just reiterate what's going to happen real quick. This is a re-recorded podcast for the Elimination Chamber back at the Wells Fargo Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Because of the whole coronavirus outbreak spreading around, and the fact that my two jobs was keeping me really on the sideline during that time period, so I couldn't really go back and to re-record. So here we are, so I re-record. So we're going to try to dumb it down into key formatting, because I know I spent a lot of time the last episode, like 55 minutes. So we're going to try to shrink it down to a half an hour for each episode, so we caught back up. So as of this week, or today, I'm going to be recording the Elimination Chamber. I'm going to be recording Monday Night Raw for March 9th, AEW Dynamite for March 11th, and WWE NXT for the March 11th. And also, we're going to do a special short podcast for the SmackDown Live from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, due to the whole coronavirus outbreak. So let's get to it. First, I just want to introduce myself. I'm a Bostonian. I'm 29 years old, who's been a wrestling fan all his life. My favorite wrestler is Undertaker, Rock, Stone Cold, Sting, and there's a few others I want to name right now, but we're not going to get too deep involved into that right now at this very juncture. But we're going to move forward with the program here. So, as we started for the very first podcast, we was talking about Elimination Chamber 2020. And the pay-per-view itself. The pay-per-view itself, let me just get straight to the point. If you want to know from my perspective, from a 1 out of 5 star formatting, I had to give the pay-per-view at least a decent 3.25 stars. Because of 2 matches and 1 match in particular. Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan. The Women's Elimination Chamber at the very end, of course, the pick that we all knew was going to win happened, but just the way that it happened wasn't really, bupkis. Complete bupkis. The last one, the second to last one to come in and whoops everyone's ass, and one person is left, and that's my main girl, Asuka. She gets mollywopped within like 7 minutes, so it wasn't really a decent, it really wasn't really a decent fight. So we're just going to go straight into this. 2020 WWE Elimination Chamber comes from the Wells Fargo Arena in Philadelphia. So we're going to start with the kickoff. The Viking Raiders defeat Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder by pinfall, which we already know that was bound to happen. I mean, WWE, let's just be straight honest. What the hell you guys gonna do with Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder to be fucking jobbers and put them on the main event and all this other stuff like that? Like, I can't understand why you have overflowing talent, but you have no TV time and you're already cutting costs right now to try to expand globally to Japan and the UK, that you guys don't even have no TV time in America for your domesticated superstars. So here's the reason why I'm kind of like, this ain't really gonna work out for them. They should not re-sign their contracts. Just release them, let them go. But they don't want to see their wrestlers go into other competition, especially AEW, and they do better over there than what they did over there. That's like a spit in their face. But out of that match, I give that one a 2.5 stars. We move forward. Daniel Bryan defeats Drew Gulak by submission. And let's just say that match, there was one spot in particular that Drew Gulak was German suplexing Daniel Bryan, and he nearly landed on the top of his head. Almost makes you remind you of the Chris Benoit versus Sabu match back in the days of ECW back in 1995. That could have been a nasty bump. And that could have been a very dangerous bump. And we already know Daniel Bryan has a lot of neck injuries. And, we don't need him to get on the sideline, especially when WrestleMania season is coming around the corner. And what they're trying to do with him right now is what I believe is, they're going to try to put the belt, they're going to try to put the Intercontinental belt from Sami Zayn to Daniel Bryan. Maybe that might be, and then they can have a program with each other. and you can incorporate Braun Strowman into the mix. So at least you can still give him some mid-card action, some mid-card level play, and that doesn't hurt, and that doesn't diminish or hurt his character. So we got past the kickoff show. Now we're gonna go into what really matters: the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Elimination Chamber match. The Miz and John Morrison defeats the Usos, the New Day, Lucha House Party, Heavy Machinery, and Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Okay, I wasn't too much a fan of this match, but I guess from a wrestling standpoint, I get what they're trying to do. Let's just get past this match, and we can try to get to what the main course is at WrestleMania to see what they're going to do with the SmackDown tag belts. The only good, decent storyline that they had in this whole entire match was Heavy Machinery versus Ziggler and Roode. Only because of one delicate flower called Rose. Jesus Christ. You have no idea what the hell that even stands for. Besides the whole Otis trying to run out and trying to smack Ziggler into the pod, he flies out himself, knocks him out, Tucker's in there by himself. He gets mauled by Roode and Ziggler, and you already know how that ends. But I think WWE is slowly trying to feed us this for WrestleMania. Let's hope and pray that this actually works. So I give this Elimination Chamber a 3. Only because of the core-based storyline, they gave us a tease, but they still is trying to build and establish a heel tag team. And honestly, Miz and Morrison are that guys. Especially if you just brought John Morrison back. What are you really going to do with him right now? You ain't going to sign into some long-term deal that had nothing to do with him. So obviously you're going to want to keep him busy. So let's keep moving forward, y'all. Aleister Black versus AJ Styles. Aleister Black defeats AJ Styles by pinfall. And let me remind you, this was a no disqualification match. If this was a no disqualification match, you have your homeboy Luke Gallows, and Anderson out there on the floor with you, and Aleister Black's out there by himself. Why ain't you really incorporate this? It could have been a 3-on-1 situation, and you would have gotten your point across much more clearly. But then at the same time, the execution was poorly done. So I think if that was the case, you should have just left. You should have just had cut a promo with AJ in the back, talking to the guy and said, no, you gotta stay back here. I got Aleister. He ain't nothing. Let's go. You know what I mean? And then it could have been the match that we all kind of dreamed about with the kendo sticks and chair shots and going through a table. And that match almost really had me like, ooh, we can actually really see more of this on Monday Night Raw. And then, as you see, the 3-on-1 attack start coming into play towards the end of the match. And then, obviously, if you've been paying attention to Monday Night Raw, what AJ's been saying about The Undertaker, you obviously knew this had to be at some point The Undertaker had to get involved in this match in order to make that WrestleMania match the next few weeks solidified. Oh, speaking of which, actually we'll talk about that later. The lights go out, the lights come back up, Undertaker's in the ring, choking out Gallows and Anderson. He turns around to AJ Styles, he sees him, catches him, and gives him the chokeslam. Bang! The lights go out. Lights come back up. Aleister Black slowly comes back into the ring. He measures him up for the black mass. Boom! 1, 2, 3. Game over. Aleister Black wins by pinfall against AJ Styles. I give that match a good 3.5. Two people I definitely wanted to see wrestle, and that would have been a dream match. You would have had it any other pay-per-view. It had better built rivalry line. But, of course, this pay-per-view is just for them to try to get past this whole entire thing and get to where they need to go, and that's WrestleMania. We moving on to the Intercontinental Championship 3-on-1 handicap match. Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro versus my big man, the main man of the hour, which I don't know why he's meant to be sour, Braun Strowman for that ugly Intercontinental Championship belt. I'm just going to make a little quick note. That belt is stupid. It's like going to the Jetsons time in 2050, and you see the new version of these championship belts being formatted and being brought and being debuted. And let me just say, I threw up all over it. That's just all I want to say. I threw up all over that belt, and now people are slowly starting to like that fucking belt. It almost makes you remind you of thinking like back in the day when John Cena first won the title, and he changed it to the whole spinner belt. People like me was kind of like, ew, that's not going to last that long. But yeah, it ended up lasting longer than expected. Then all of a sudden you start becoming a fan of it. Because different superstars had different touches and different entitlements when it comes to that belt. As we move forward. The way this match was is so ridiculously stupid. I knew they was going to try to put the belt off of Strowman and put it back into the heel's hands. But which heel were we talking about here? You know, do another with Cesaro. You put him in with this trio. Another League of Nations version .2, which is going to fail. But watch what's going to happen next. At the end, at the very end, I believe he did a hell of a kick on Cesaro and scored the pinfall. And that's what gave Sami Zayn a main roster singles title for the very first time. The match was really poorly placed, but Zayn winning the title was just a slick, surprising moment. So I would give this a 2.5. No, actually, I'll give it a 2.75 stars. Because it was just so damn out of place. Like, jeez Louise, oh my God. My God, just my God. Now we're going to get into the final one, which is Shayna Baszler defeats Natalya, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, and Asuka to become the number 1 contender for Becky Lynch's Raw's Women's Championship. Now, this whole match itself was just screwy on its own. This match should have never been the main event. Never should have been the main event. It should have been either the SmackDown Elimination Tag Titles, or it should have been AJ Styles and Aleister Black. That's just my opinion. Y'all can stick with y'all opinion. I don't know. I don't care. But the way that this match was executed, the way it should have been executed, and I'm going to do this squeezing this little segment called Fantasy Booking. Fantasy Booking is you can take one match out of the whole entire card. You can change it any way that you want to make it better. So I'm going to change the very last match. They should have let Shayna Baszler go in first. She should have been the one that's in there going first. Everyone else is trying to get out. Everyone's trying to get out of the pods, jump on her, try to get her out. Each and every last one is out there. Asuka should have been the dead last one. Then, as the fight continued, the fight starts shifting to Asuka and Baszler trying to prove one-on-one that they can take on each other. So they're just knocking out everyone. Pinfall, 1, 2, 3. Baszler will be like, oh yeah? And choke out someone. Tap out, submission. And Asuka and Baszler were just looking at each other back and forth. Ooh, that would have been so intense. So when they're the dead last two in there, and they gotta give us like a good 10, 12 minute little match, 10, 12 minute match for themselves. And then we could have been sold on that. I'm like, okay, maybe when they put the belt off of Becky, we might actually see Asuka get a nice little singles run against Baszler. We birthed the NXT rivalry. Ooh, I can see that happen. But they didn't. They put Shayna Baszler second to last. She goes in, whips the shit out of everybody, waits for Asuka to come out, and they only have a measly 5 to 7 minute match at the very end. And Shayna Baszler chokes out Asuka. She's the number 1 contender for Becky's title. And that's pretty much it. That's all I really got to say about that pay-per-view. So out of the whole pay-per-view itself, like I said, I gave it a decent 3. Because I'm bringing mercy to them, because under the circumstances of the pay-per-view, it barely really, pushed the advertise. And some of the matches we did not want to see. There was only maybe 2 matches we wanted to see. All the rest of them, we didn't want to see those. So, we're done here with that one. So, we're done with 2020's WWE Elimination Chamber. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the debut podcast. I'm your host, Lansky. Here on Off the Top Rope Podcast, and we're going to see you in a few short moments for episode 2 of it. And we're going to tackle WWE Raw the very next night on March 9th, 2020, where Edge returns to try to get his revenge on Randy Orton. What happens? What finds out? We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank y'all. Have a good morning. Have a good day.